Welcome back to Copywise Audiobook, your home for timeless lessons in wealth, mindset, and success. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this video, because what you're about to learn from Think and Grow Rich could change the way you think about your entire life. Today, we begin one of the most influential books ever written on success, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. In Chapter 1, titled The Power of Thought, Hill reveals the foundation of everything that follows in the book, the incredible truth that our thoughts are things, not vague, invisible ideas, but real forces capable of shaping our destiny. But how does a single thought turn into wealth, success, or greatness? Let's uncover the story behind this philosophy and the man whose burning desire transformed him from an ordinary person into one of the richest men in the world. The story begins, the secret behind success. Napoleon Hill begins this chapter not with a definition, but with a story about a man whose name would forever be tied to the idea of perseverance and belief, Edwin C. Barnes. Barnes was not born wealthy. He had no connections, no money, and not even the proper attire to look successful. Yet, what he did have was a burning desire, a single, all-consuming thought that one day he would become the business partner of Thomas Edison, the great American inventor. This was not a passing wish. It was not the kind of dream people mention when they say, maybe one day. No, for Barnes, it was an obsession. One day, with only a few coins in his pocket, he boarded a freight train bound for Orange, New Jersey, the home of Edison's laboratory. He didn't know anyone there. He had no invitation, no recommendation. But in his mind, he had already seen it. He would work with Edison. When he arrived at Edison's office, the workers probably saw a poor man dressed in worn clothes. But Edison saw something different, a spark of determination. Hill writes that when Edison looked into Barnes' eyes, he saw a man who was willing to do whatever it took. So Edison gave him a chance, not as a partner, but as a lowly assistant in his office. To most people, this would have been disappointing, but to Barnes, it was victory because he was inside, he was there, and he knew that one day opportunity would knock, and when it did, he would be ready. The moment of opportunity. Months passed. Barnes worked quietly, diligently, while others overlooked him. But then, one day, opportunity arrived, just as he had imagined. Edison had just invented a new machine called the Edison dictating machine, the early version of what we'd call a voice recorder today. But Edison's sales team wasn't enthusiastic about it. They didn't believe it would sell. Barnes saw his chance. He approached Edison with courage and said, "Mr. Edison, I can sell that machine." Edison, recalling the young man's ambition, gave him a chance. And within weeks, Barnes proved himself right. He sold the dictating machine so effectively that he made both himself and Edison a fortune. More importantly, he achieved his dream. He became Edison's business partner. Hill summarizes this moment with a profound truth. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It wasn't luck. It wasn't circumstance. It was the power of a single, determined thought that refused to die until it became reality. The birth of a philosophy, thoughts are things. After telling the story of Barnes, Hill transitions from storytelling to reflection. He reveals the underlying philosophy behind the tale. Thoughts, he says, are not intangible nothings. They are real, powerful forces. Every success, every invention, every fortune begins in the mind as an idea, a picture, a vision. He calls this the power of thought. But not every thought becomes real. Only thoughts mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire have the strength to translate into physical form. Hill writes, "Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches." He wasn't only talking about money. Hill's message was broader, riches of all kinds, success, achievement, happiness, fulfillment. The mystery of desire, turning thought into power. Barnes didn't say, I want to work for Edison someday. He said in his heart, I will become his partner. Hill emphasizes that this difference between wishing and willing separates dreamers from achievers. A wish is weak and fleeting, but a burning desire, that's the fuel of greatness. Barnes had no idea how he would achieve it. He didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. He acted, even when he lacked everything except his belief. And that, Hill insists, is where true power begins. When thought, backed by desire, becomes an obsession. Hill invites the reader to pause and reflect. What is your burning desire? Because until your goal becomes an obsession, until it consumes your thoughts, your actions, and your energy, it remains just a wish. The world belongs to those who think with purpose. Napoleon Hill then expands this idea beyond Barnes. He says every great achievement in history, every fortune, invention, or discovery began as a single thought. Think of Thomas Edison himself. Before he lit the world with his inventions, he was just another man with an idea. But Edison refused to quit. He failed 10,000 times before creating the electric light bulb. Did he give up? No, because his thought was fixed, clear, unwavering, and charged with belief. Hill points out that Edison didn't fail 10,000 times. He simply discovered 10,000 ways that didn't work. That's the mindset of the successful thinker. The world doesn't reward those who dabble or drift. It rewards those who decide, who make a clear mental picture of what they want and hold on to it until it becomes real. He writes, there is no such thing as something for nothing. Success comes only to those who become success conscious. This is a central theme of Think and Grow Rich. To grow rich, in money, in spirit, in success, you must first become rich in thought. From failure to fortune, the secret behind every great success. Napoleon Hill reminds us that the road to success is never smooth. Even those with strong thoughts and burning desires will meet failure. But failure, Hill insists, is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. He says that most people give up when they're only 3 feet from gold. He tells of men who quit just before victory, simply because they didn't realize how close they were. Barnes could have quit 100 times, when he had no money, when he worked menial jobs, when no one believed in him. But he didn't. He kept his thought alive until the world had no choice but to yield. And this, Hill says, is the law of nature. Thought, when combined with faith and persistence, transforms into reality. The power of faith in action. In the later part of Chapter 1, Hill introduces a key element that will return again and again throughout the book: faith. Faith, he says, is the visualization and belief in the attainment of desire. It's not religion, but a mental attitude, a way of seeing success before it happens. Barnes had faith. He didn't know when or how his dream would come true, but he believed every day that it would. Faith is what gives thought its creative energy. Without faith, a desire remains an empty dream. With faith, it becomes a command to the universe. The invisible power within you. Napoleon Hill challenges the reader, and by extension, you, the listener, to realize the incredible power that lies within your own mind. He says, you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because you have the power to control your thoughts. If your thoughts are weak, scattered, and doubtful, your life will reflect confusion. But if your thoughts are clear, strong, and focused, your life will reflect purpose. He compares the mind to a magnet. It attracts whatever corresponds to its dominating thoughts. Think poverty, and poverty will come. Think riches, and riches will respond. It's not magic, it's the psychology of focus. We become what we think about most of the time. The beginning of riches, a choice of mindset. By the end of Chapter 1, Hill leaves us with a challenge. Every person holds the key to their own success, but few use it. That key is thought, not idle imagination, but focused, determined thinking. The greatest power in the world is not money, not luck, not inheritance, it's the power to think. And that power belongs equally to everyone, rich or poor. If you think success, act with purpose, and persist through difficulty, you set in motion unseen forces that bring opportunity, ideas, and people into your life. That's how Edwin C. became a partner to the greatest inventor of his time. That's how every great achiever began. Hill's message is simple but profound. Change your thoughts and you change your destiny. Closing recap. So let's recap what we've learned from Chapter 1 of Think and Grow Rich. 1. Thoughts are things, powerful, creative forces that shape reality. 2. A burning desire is the starting point of all achievement. 3. Faith and persistence turn thought into tangible success. 4. Every great success begins in the mind, with a clear vision held long enough to become reality. 5. Failure is only temporary. Those who persist transform it into triumph. Napoleon Hill leaves us with the reminder that you are not a victim of circumstance, you are a creator of it.